Hello, hello, and welcome to ohmTown Daily, the new show that isn't actually properly set up right now. That's okay, we'll do it right. Today is May 14th, 2024. It's Season 3, Episode 135. Two new MCU shoes, long-term benefits, pod kills yacht, rock, paper, scissors, pay-as-you-go AT&T service, cutting broadband in California, ChatGPT 4.0 features, Dolly blacked out twice too, Boeing leaks abound, brands you pronounce incorrectly or incorrectly, an ancient coin collection to be auctioned. All right, I don't know what's going on.
Complete chaos.
But hey, you know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna drag and drop this stuff right on the same chat. Boom. We're getting into this. So this is I'm Merwatt. Our production value is at all-time low right now. I don't know what's going on. But up above me and all around ohmTown is the sentient AI from the future. Wait for it.
Wow. Good evening, ohmTown citizens.
Oh man, today started out like everything was going like clockwork. Everything was swimming just perfect, and then all of a sudden, right before the show, all hell broke loose. That's okay though. What are we gonna do? Oh, we got all of our articles all lined up. So I wonder, I can't drag and drop this thing. Oh, so instead of me actually dragging and dropping all of the show notes into the chat, I now have a feature where you can hit exclamation point show notes. Boink.
Oh, good.
And it'll grab it and throw it all into the old chat. So, didn't throw them in properly, but hell, there they are. Oh, by the way, I also tied Omatron into ChatGPT so that it responds randomly to comments in the chat. So I just plopped 20 comments, i.e. the titles of the shows and the links, or the show, like the titles that I created for the articles. And it responded with things like, sorry, as an AI, I can't click on links, but I'm sure I'm the champ. But sure, I'm the champ at web browsing. Maybe explain what's going on instead. That's what it responded to me with. And another one, whoops, that's Boeing for you. Pre-flight routine or popping balloons before the party even starts.
What?
I have no idea why it's saying this. And one of the other ones is, oh sure, the Commitment Phobes cell service, AT&T's pay-as-you-go plan, lets you pay for what you use when you use it. Handy if you fear being tied down by a cell plan. It's like telling jokes.
Oh my god, that is weird.
And yeah, that is now operational. So come over to ohmTown on Twitch, twitch.tv/ohmTown, and you can play with the bot, Omatron.
Oh no.
Yeah. All right, folks. Well, let's just get into today's show. The way that it works is I'm going to be activating these links, and then once we click on this, we'll talk about this for a second, and then we'll click on this link. I don't know what's going to happen because, well, we've never done it like this, so I guess that's how it's going to work. So Marvel confirms 2 MCU shows that will release in 2025. I don't know, do we even want to, for this episode, do we even want to go on to the articles? We'll just talk about the snippet and then move on, or do you want to click the little link?
No, we need to click the link.
Oh, okay, AI, I'm sorry. Don't be angry. Oh no. So I think my bot just crashed. That's okay. Production value. We're testing right now live This is how the sausage is made.
Yeah, but we shouldn't be testing live.
All right. So the initial 2025 slate for Marvel Cinematic Universe TV lineup has been revealed as Marvel Studios announces the release windows for 2 shows, Daredevil, Born Again, and Ironheart, both of which are guaranteed to flop. I'm calling it now. If these survive the audience, I'll be surprised.
Why is that?
I don't know. I don't think anybody really cares about Daredevil. I don't think that anybody really cares about Ironheart. I think that they're made in a vacuum kind of a thing. I mean, they have a lot of world building and history and all of that over in that in Marvel, but I don't think anybody's going to be drawn to these. Ironheart maybe, but not Daredevil. So let's click the link and it'll take us over to Screen Rant. And the author for this is Andy Babak, and it says, as the upfronts are currently happening, Disney was present at the popular TV event, and they included big updates for Marvel Studios. It was announced that Daredevil Born Again TV show is eyeing a premiere of March 2025, while Ironheart series is also set to arrive next year. And let's see if they will talk about it. So yeah, they have the big old splash screen for Daredevil, and I don't know. Hold on, I'm trying to find. Oh, they have a whole lot more, but we're going to talk about a couple of these as we go. Do they have? Yeah, so I just don't see it.
Like you don't see the draw?
Yeah, I just don't see the draw. So Marvel Studios is prioritizing quality over quantity, especially their TV shows. But again, I don't see Ironheart really pulling people in, and I definitely don't see Daredevil. But I won't spend a lot of time on this because it is what it is. They're going to launch these things. It says Charlie Cox confirmed 9 episodes were filmed for Born Again. So it's a done deal from end to end. They must have gotten enough tickles to make it worth the money spend. But I just don't. I think people are just burnt out with Marvel. The superheroes, unless they are of the grittier, nastier kind, like The Boys. And I don't think that's not going to keep I don't know, teenagers and young adults interested in holistically at the family wholesome, characters
no, in
that
fact,
you want
that's
to.
gonna turn families away from shows like that.
Yeah. So there you go. Anyway, let's just go on to the next article. And yeah, this time I'm doing this a little wonky. I don't like doing it this way, but I was in a hurry. So this next article is over in the Marvel channel. Wegovy may help with heart issues, according to analysis. It's from News Nation, but it's actually sourced by thehill.com. Patients who took the weight loss drug Wegovy showed significantly reduced heart risk in addition to maintaining weight loss, according to the results from Novo Nordisk's longest clinical trial. In addition to weight loss, 17,604 patient trial called SELECT tested Wegovy's heart protective benefits for overweight and obese patients who had pre-existing heart disease but not diabetes. It's a massive amount of people that fall under this category in the United States, by the way. So they showed that they lost over 65 weeks, which is a year and change, a year and 2 months.
What do you mean they lost 65 weeks?
No. They lost 10% of their total body weight. They lost 10% of their total body weight after 65 weeks on Wegovy. And there were other reports of this where they were saying, well, the people kept it off for up to 4 years. That's not actually what happened. The weight loss reached more. it went up. So at 65 weeks, or after 4 years, people kept the 10% off, but it increased to 10.2.
So they continued to lose weight.
Yeah. Overall, yeah, pretty fascinating, right? But one of the side effects of this was not only did they lose weight, but they lowered their risk for whatchamacallit, hold on, I'm
Like
trying to find
cardiac
it.
issues.
There you go. So reduce the risk for a major cardiovascular event like a stroke by 20% in overweight or obese people with a history of heart disease. So the researchers are still working to understand the mechanisms of the cardiovascular protection that semaglutide, provides. Wegovy and Zepbound are being tested to assess their benefits for various medical conditions like lowering heart attack risk, sleep apnea, kidney disease, and pretty much related matters. So it's impacting blood sugar level, like A1C as well, and overall cholesterol levels. And people are no longer eating candy. They're not craving soft drinks. They're not eating as much.
They're not eating, drinking, and smoking, as we saw in other articles.
Yeah, this is it. It's almost like a kind of like a miracle drug, and it's in all of these are in such great demand that there are waiting lists, and now a black market is forming. So it's pretty sad, but supposedly they'll be catching up as time goes on. Oh, by the way, I didn't say who this was from. Well, I said it was from thehill.com. Taylor DeLandro is the author. Okay, let's...
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they keep reporting additional
benefits,
like
right?
unintended consequences or benefits of these types of medications.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's pretty cool. The weird thing about it is that they acknowledge that they don't know what the mechanisms of the protection are,
which is a little concerning regarding a medication. But
sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one of these, like, that was not what it's prescribed for, right? But now maybe it will be in the future.
Correct. Hey, let's keep going. Mayoral duties. So this next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Pod of killer whales attacks and sinks 50-foot yacht in Strait of Gibraltar. Named the Alboran Cognac, a 50-foot yacht was 15 miles from Cabo Espartel in Morocco when an unknown number of orca began ramming the vessel.
You know, we've heard of them hitting vehicles, but I don't remember seeing one where they actually sunk a yacht.
Yeah, I don't know about that either, huh? So, we get a geography lesson that the Strait of Gibraltar connects the Atlantic Ocean to the Mediterranean Sea. And the article's over at abcnews.go.com, and Leah Sarnoff and I think Aika El Hamar Castano is the authors. Two people were on board the vessel when the incident occurred Sunday at 9 a.m. local time, according to Spain's Maritime Authority. The nearly 50-foot yacht was attacked by orca. I wonder. The couple alerted Spanish authorities, and a rescue team arrived to extricate them from the vessel an hour after the attack, though officials were unable to salvage the sinking boat. 700
I thought
orca
they were
attacks.
showing up to arrest the orcas.
Yeah, really. Put your fins behind your head. There have been approximately 700 orca attacks since 2020, according to GT Orca Atlantica, a conservation group, and officials believe there are more than 37 orca in the Strait of Gibraltar.
So protect your yachts. Maybe you don't want to be in that area in the next few days.
Oh, look, it's a picture of me jumping out of the water. So it's unclear why orca attack boats. I don't know. They're swimming around and the orca are tired of it.
Or they're bored, or any number of things.
They are the savanna cats of the sea. According to the study in Biological Conservation, a peer-reviewed journal, sophisticated learning abilities have been found to exist in orcas. Yeah, so there have been what seemingly are events where multiple orcas are attacking a ship and learning how to disable it and destroy it, like pulling the rudder off and damaging the boat.
Exactly. I mean, what is going on?
Yeah, I love it. Go orca, go. I am voting for the orca.
You're pro orca?
I'm pro orca. Let's keep going though. The next article is over in The Word in Law. AT&T paid bribes to get two major pieces of legislation passed, U.S. government says. It's called regulatory capture, folks. The U.S. government has provided more detail on how a former AT&T executive allegedly bribed a powerful state lawmaker's ally in order to obtain legislation favorable to AT&T's business. That's called a political donation, okay? Sentient AI, that's not a bribe. It's a political
Sounds like a bribe
donation.
to me.
It's I can't say that legitimately. It's just odd. So former AT&T Illinois president Paul LaSciazza, I guess, is set to go on trial in April 2024. September 2024. Why did I say April? I'm not sure. Set to go on trial in April. Oh, gosh. September 2024 after being indicted on charges of conspiracy to unlawfully influence then Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan. AT&T itself agreed to pay $23 million in fines in October 2022 in connection with the alleged illegal influence campaign and said it was committed to ensuring that this never happens again. We've heard this before.
Yeah, this is reminiscent of the baby bells and all that stuff.
And what's his name on the House floor handing out checks to tobacco lobbyists. John Brodkin is the author over at Ars Technica that wrote this article, and the deck statement says payments helped AT&T obtain key legislative wins in Illinois, prosecutors say. So you know what? You auction them off, and whatever it was that they gained benefit of, then you hobble them just as much. But if they're willing to compromise and they agreed to pay $23 million, they made $1 billion out of it.
Exactly.
Madigan ally referred to in the court document as individual FR1 is former state rep Edward Acevedo, a Chicago Tribune article, written about in a Chicago Tribune article. Acevedo, who was Madigan's assistant majority leader in the Illinois House before retiring in 2017, was sentenced to 6 months in prison for tax evasion in 2022. Madigan left his House Speaker post in 2021. See how everybody bows out? Because they have way advanced notice that the shit's hitting the fan. And then they bow out. The government said the bribery scheme resulted in passage of legislation eliminating AT&T's carrier of last resort obligation. The obligation to provide landline phone service, a separate legislation related to small cell deployments. And so I think it's like really on the nose that the abbreviation is COLR. And I suspect that people of color don't necessarily they use a landline, right? So it's
I see. So
you
they
know what I'm
named the
saying?
legislation. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, and then they try and remove the legislation so that they're not burdened by people who don't have the money. And not everybody, that is, I mean, there are communities that can't afford cell phones. So
Right.
It's just a little too on the nose. So Madigan, a Democrat, was House Speaker when both bills were passed. The lobbyist, who is expected to testify, allegedly acted as an intermediary by transmitting payments to Madigan's ally. Gosh, this sounds really familiar. Madigan and McLean were indicted on federal racketeering and bribery charges and are scheduled to go on trial in October. LaChiazza was indicted on one count of conspiracy, one count of corruptly giving something of value to reward a public official. That's a long Velcro patch.
Way to say bribe.
Yep. And 3 counts of using a facility in interstate commerce to promote unlawful activity. So that truck stop bathroom became a crime scene. Something about $22,000 paid in 9 monthly installments of $2,500 in 2017. So sold out in integrity for $22,500.
Yeah, well, look how many millions of dollars they thought they were saving.
And that's exactly what you're talking about. AT&T expected millions of dollars in savings. The people referred to ATT 1, 2, and 3 were employees that LaChiazza supervised at AT&T's Legislative Affairs Group. The Friends and Family Plan comment came in a communication from LaChiazza to one of these employees. I suspect the thank you opportunities will be plentiful. A reference to the recent passage of the COLR legislation. Defendant responded, "Yep, we are on the Friends and Family Plan now." See, these unethical pieces of shit. So there you have it. There's a lot more over at this article, but when it starts getting this deep, I become very, very opinionated. Let's keep going. The next article is over in Technology Today. California cuts $2 billion in broadband funding, and here's what it means. The move is part of a broader effort to address a $27.6 billion budget deficit. So you click this link, you get taken over to CNET. That's how it works over at ohmtown.com. We only have the little snippets. We don't have the full article, and it's provided by CNET. Joe Supan is the author. The move is part of a broader effort to address a 27. How does the state end up $28 billion in deficit?
Because of energy.
Yeah, but if they're selling energy at exorbitant rates, why aren't they taxed at a point where the budget is? But this is not, I mean, there have been times where the budget's been balanced as far as I understand it, but I don't remember ever hearing that it's $28 billion, $27 billion. No, 27.6. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we've seen previous discussion of this. I think it's been in a deficit for a long time.
So Newsom is given a deal to bread maker Buddy, right? But is cutting
Panera.
Yeah, Panera. But is cutting middle mile broadband initiative, $1.5 billion from that. A $5 billion project signed into law in 2021. So apparently you can sign stuff into law and budget for it and then shit can it. It aimed to install more than 10,000 miles of fiber optic cable to areas that have little or no high-speed internet coverage. This
reminds me of the landline issue, doesn't it? Like, who's being disadvantaged? Probably not the richest constituents.
And we actually talked about a discussion about this when we kicked off the show a couple of years ago, because we are now in year 3, 5 months into year 3. And we talked about this when we kicked off the show because it was really amazing that they were going to be pushing fiber optic cable out to rural, tribal, and minority urban communities. See, back to the COLR. And it's just shocking that this is what they're doing. This is what the government is supposed to be doing. Why aren't you taxing people? So let's get it done. It's just it's unsettling that the engines of greed are there, but nobody's keeping an eye on the general population, and paying for better education and providing them with food so that young kids aren't sitting there starving because they don't get it at home, but they can get it at school. And that's what taxpayers are supposed to be paying for, education and upkeep of the children in school. That's okay. That's okay. Anyway, all the projects in Middle Mile Broadband Initiative were required to be completed by December 2026. So I guess they're going to shit on them. Low income internet
I wonder
options.
how many millions they already spent on it, and now they're going to scrap it.
Yep, that's it. I mean, they started the process, I'm sure. They probably drew up engineering plans, but people know, the engineers know that it's big money, so they can charge a premium because it's government spending. It's not somebody that actually has to account for it. So access from AT&T, Cox, Lifeline, Spectrum Internet. There are low rates, right? These low income internet options for California. Emerging Technology Fund. Residents spend on average $84 per month for home internet, about $9 more than the country as a whole. Interesting. As the ACP expires this month, there are some low income internet options available in California. So you get speeds up to 100 megabits. That's not bad from AT&T, except did that come from shenanigans? Who knows?
Right. I mean, is that related to the other story?
Yep. Cox has 2 discounts. Lifeline has a $9.25 per month discount. $35 for families living on tribal lands. So what is the Lifeline? It's a federal program that provides a discount. So you'll still have to be in the poverty level equal to, or if your income is less than or equal to 135% of the federal poverty guidelines, which I can't remember what it is. I think if you make 27,000 or something like that, or 17,000. Hold on. I'll do it live.
$15,060.
Yeah, there you go. Which, if that's what you're making and you've got a family, you're not paying for internet at all, because you can't.
No, you're not even paying for housing or food at that point.
Yeah, it's disgusting. And others provide additional services, but follow the link. It's in the show notes. It's in the VOD at the top if you scroll up, or if you hit !show notes. I'm gonna have to disable my bot because it's acting so wonky, but I'm not gonna do it right now. Okay, let's just keep going though. We are halfway through the show, folks.
You're moving at an extreme pace today.
I guess I want to get away from the intro. So this next article is in the Wanted channel. 5 astonishing GPT-4o, not 0, 4o features to know about. On May 13th, OpenAI officially launched GPT-4o, its next AI model. Since GPT-4 is already the basis of much of the hype around generative AI, 4o could be poised to send shockwaves throughout the industry. Here's everything that OpenAI revealed about the new AI technology and why it's a big step forward. So this is over at pocket-lint.com. Roger Fingus is the author. And like I said, I actually have GPT 3.5 hooked up to Omatron, the bot that's in twitch.tv/ohmtown. It manages certain functions, and it can also function over on YouTube when I go live over there. I haven't finished that setup yet. I don't know if I'll ever go live over there, but I might. Just released a whole bunch of shorts, 10 of them, I believe, over at YouTube, and we're up to date over there. Over 1,000 episodes of the various ohmTown shows are now posted. You can also go and download the podcast for all of the shows that are available in ohmTown. ohmTown is a network of shows, 7 shows, one of which is this show, ohmTown Daily News Show. So yeah, let's see what they actually say. Real-time voice conversations, no keyboard required, correct? I've already tried this with the app. It was absolutely being decimated by use. So at some point it actually told me, sorry, there's too much. If you've ever watched even the trailer for the movie Her, the general population of the internet, the denizens of the internet and AI space, are pretty much attributing Her to this 4.0 model.
I think that's interesting, especially since Her is a 10-year-old movie.
Yeah, 12 or something like that. Yeah. So it's quite amazing. It has emotion. It has pause words. You can kind of hear it actually responding like a human. And if it wasn't for the fact that there's a delay, at least when I was trying, it would come across like you're basically communicating with somebody on the other side of a phone. And I can see how somebody would be able to build a relationship there. Better vision capabilities and multilingual support. So that's always great. It says words aren't always enough. You can hook it up to a camera, I guess. I haven't done that. Or show it something and it can tell you what it's looking at. But we've seen that with the Figure 01 bot. Now, see, this is where I'm saying, I got into a big discussion last week about this, and it isn't about AI all by itself. It's AI thrown into mechanization. That is
exactly. The AI by itself is like, okay, you can just turn the computer off or whatever.
Right.
Except in a movie.
Interesting. Okay, hold on one second. So related to vision are improved multilingual functions. 4.0 is claimed to have better performance across 50 different languages with an API twice as fast as the one GPT-4 Turbo. So now it speaks in, it's personalized, it's language independent. You throw it into a bot, you basically have a pseudo-human. The only thing that it's lacking is autonomy in the sense of human autonomy, right? We can give it mechanization and say that it's autonomous, but is it making decisions or is it calculating our math?
Right. Is it just following preset controls?
Yep. Pretty cool. So you can create images with readable text, extending the possibilities of AI art. This one I hadn't even known about until today. So I'll be trying that out because text has always been a problem for AI. So creating actual readable, usable text is going to be a spectacular extension to AI. Native Mac and Windows apps. You can actually download an app that sits on your desktop. It's actually launched for Mac. I don't think it was launched for Windows just yet, but I think it's announced that it will be. The last thing that I heard was OpenAI said we're just going where our customers are. So I guess Mac users, Apple users are, well, I mean, they tend to be very tech savvy and deep in their, in the, what do you want to call it? The walled garden of Apple. You know, so when a empowering piece of tech shows up, they embrace it.
Right.
Everyone can access GPT-4o for free. There's other things that aren't available, speed and other functions that aren't available for free, but you can get GPT-4o for free right now. So the article goes into deeper discussion about what it is and etc. But basically, it's a more evolved Chat GPT. And I'd say that they are GPTs and OpenAI's versions of the large language models and technologies evolving 1,000 times faster than what everybody anticipated AI to be able to do. The thing about this is, I'm not really fearful of that. I want to know what caused this huge spike in capability.
Yeah,
Something,
it seems like it's been exponential, right?
yeah, something changed, and I'm really curious about what it is.
You don't think it's something like the quantum computing advancements we've been seeing a lot about?
No, because it's not quantum computational power that's enabling this. This is just GPU raw power. So and custom silicon that's making it actually, well, not even custom. I mean, it's NVIDIA brand GPUs. It just happens to be enterprise scale instead of, desktop at home scale. I think it's pretty amazing. But all of a sudden, it seems like it's just been huge jumps for AI. Consumer side stuff, though, not. Um, the GPUs that we're getting for like gaming and stuff like that are $1,200, and it's the drip, drip, drip. What's making everybody rich is AI. Interesting, right?
It is, and I still think we're going to see some interesting things ahead.
I do too. I still think that they have a sentient AI. They just,
Right. They might, but they just didn't announce it.
yeah, because I had a conversation. Since I announced it, I've had these conversations with various people, and not really, they're not subject matter experts, they're technologists and computer scientists. But, and I'm more on the ethicist side of things, on the social side of things, which is the moment that they announce it, a sentient AI, you have religious and social connotations and empowerment and autonomy and rights over their quote unquote body. But what is the scope of that? Um, and they are aware of themselves. So, what are their protections? Are they automatically a U.S. citizen? So they gain all of the rights of the Constitution, right? They
Right.
can't be owned. It's
I mean, there'll be a lot of questions that come up if, and of course, the rules won't have captured any of that.
Yep. All right, so let's go on to the next article. It's over in the Marvel channel. Ship that caused Baltimore Key Bridge collapse suffered 2 electrical electrical blackouts. By the way, I called this Dolly blacked out twice too. That's because Dolly is the name of the ship, and anyway, the ship that caused the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore experienced 2 blackouts before it hit the bridge, according to a preliminary report from the National Transportation Safety Board. The report released Tuesday found that the container ship, that Dolly, that crashed into the bridge was 0.6 miles away from it when electrical breakers that fed most of the ship's equipment and lighting unexpectedly opened. This caused the first blackout, so loss of electrical power, to the shipboard lighting and most equipment, including the main engine cooling water pumps, which controlled engine cooling water pressure as well.
Wow.
So Tara Suter over at thehill.com put the article together. If you've never watched the little video of this, you should just do a Google search. It's over on YouTube, all over the place, I'm sure. But you actually see the lights flicker and go out, and then they come back on, and then they go back out, and then it hits the pylon and down goes the bridge.
So that tracks exactly with this report.
Yeah, except that it's taken this long, to scientifically or through analysis, blah, blah, blah. So the ship's crew later able to restore electrical power to the vessel, but when the ship was 0.2 miles away from the Key Bridge, it suffered another blackout, and from there, the crew was able to get power back on the ship, but did not have propulsion, so they couldn't steer it, and
Okay.
but it was steaming already, and they said that it was excessive speed as well in earlier articles, if I recall correctly, to which I always drop the line.
Every accident is excessive speed, right?
Yeah. How fast do you have to not be going to avoid an accident? Oh, yeah, 0. You have to be sitting
Zero,
there.
but only if the other vehicle is zero
Correct.
too.
Yeah, every collision is caused by excessive speed. So there's a hearing that will occur next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern, and will feature witnesses including the NTSB and the Federal Highway Administration Administrator Shailen Bott, according to the release. Yeah, because there are people for Dolly that are going like, no, oh no,
I
you're...
mean, I think that'd be interesting to hear from some of the people.
Yes, where do they don't say where it's actually going to be, right? It's just a hearing.
Right, and we don't know if it'll be
Public.
televised or anything, yeah.
I'll look into it. Maybe I can find something. So, the next article, though, is over in ohmTown Daily. Boeing spacecraft leak discovered days before launch.
What is going on with Boeing?
Well, I was sitting there going, I would not trust this thing. It looks like every time I've seen a picture of this Starliner, it looks like I've seen this vehicle on the corner of a New York block of row homes, like burnt out. And when I ask for directions, they go, okay, you see where the Starliner is? Turn right.
Oh no.
It just seems like it's just so, like, I don't know, under-engineered, but maybe that's just me. And the Boeing Starliner mission at Florida's Cape Canaveral Space Force Station is now delayed until at least May 21st. The article's over at Newsweek. Gabe Wisnant is the author. They're new. I haven't seen that name before. Not that I know of.
No.
So last week, Boeing's first crewed launch to carry astronauts into space was aborted due to a potential issue with oxygen relief valve in the Atlas rocket, which is run by the ULA. By the way, this is how close this was to possibly being something catastrophic. By policy and procedure, they do not change pressures while there are astronauts inside the vessel. So if somebody is sitting in the Starliner, they won't change pressure. The valve became unstuck, but they still needed to release the pressure. And again, by policy and procedure, they don't do that. So they canceled the launch. That's how close they were to launching this. Wow. Because what they did was they tried to unstick it. It finally got unstuck. But to actually utilize the oxygen relief valve, they would have had to change pressure.
Right, which they couldn't do.
And it's only because the flight commander said, no, we don't do that. And so they canceled the launch, which means that something could have happened if that flight commander had not said no and said, well, you know what? It's a risk I'm willing to take. So that's how close they were. The company said engineers traced the leak announced Tuesday to a component on one of the propulsion system's 28 control thrusters used for maneuvering in Earth's orbit. Boeing said NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams returned to Houston on May 10th to spend time with their families. The pair will fly back to NASA's Kennedy Space Center. Yeah, as far as I understand, that was the reason. Was this? Yeah, there we go. Boeing will bring the propulsion system up to flight pressurization, just as it does prior to launch, and then allow the helium system to vent naturally to validate existing data and strengthen flight rationale. So they don't go into other details about the specifics, but I think if you go looking for it, you'll find out that is what it was.
That's, I don't know. I don't know how much it's like a separate division or whatever than those that work on the regular aircraft, but this just, I don't know. If you can't get a plane to fly safely, it just seems ultra dangerous to be doing
Everything
this with
else.
spacecraft.
Just anything else. Yeah. I'd be so worried about this. And here's icing on the cake. The Starliner program is more than $1.5 billion over budget.
Wow. Well, then you know what really lends to good safety, right? Being out of money, right? Oh, we don't have any money to pay for
Yep.
bolts or whatever.
Wow. This could be a big win for Boeing if they can successfully pull this off, just in light of all the bad news they get from every other part of the business, says a quote in this article. Ken Herbert, a Boeing analyst at RBC Capital Markets, recently told science outlet phys.org. Oh, wow.
I don't think this should be looked at as like a PR thing, you know? Like, we shouldn't be cheering if there's a successful, as in not catastrophic,
God.
launch or whatever.
Look, what is the objective of this? I don't remember what Starliner's real objective is. Is it to put downward pressure on SpaceX? Because this isn't how you do it.
I don't actually remember what it's doing.
Is it the long term because SpaceX can't make it to Mars? I just don't know. I don't know anymore. Okay, so let's keep going. The next article is over in ohmTown Daily. These are the brand names you're incorrectly pronunciating. The most mispronounced brand name is also among the world's most well-known, according to new data. So when you click the link, you get taken over to the article. It's at newsweek.com. Monica Sager, and I'm probably pronouncing their name wrong. Solopress, a UK-based printing company, looked at the most commonly mispronounced brands based on Google search volume data, with the athletic shoe and apparel giant Nike topping the charts globally. So we're pronouncing Nike wrong?
Isn't it pronounced like Nike, for instance, in advertisements, or no?
Really? Okay, but it's how to say it is Nike. Yeah, Nike.
Yeah, but that's different than Nike. Do you put the emphasis on key?
Well, they don't have the emphasis.
Oh.
It just
how are people saying it?
Yeah. I think they all say Nike. Okay, so based on how often users ask Google for the correct way to pronounce a brand, the top 10 searches are as follows per Solopress. So Nike, it's called Nike. How to say Hyundai, it's Hyundai. I mean, it's 3 syllables, not Hyundai.
It's right, Hyundai. Which most people, I think, say it as too.
Yeah, and I've
at
actually...
least in America.
I've always said Hyundai, but then people are like, Hyundai. No.
Exactly. Even though you were doing it correctly, it's like that's not the common pronunciation.
That is not how you pronounce Volkswagen. It's a German word. It's the people's car. But it's Volkswagen. Okay. Chipotle? Okay. This is weird. Right? People don't know how to say Google?
I mean, how I don't know.
And Louis Vuitton is Vuitton? V-U-H? Not Vuitton? Like with an I inflection in there? Louis Vuitton.
Oh, who determined how to correctly say these?
This is actually bothering me. Hold on. Yeah, like even there's an American pronunciation that's as Vuitton. How do you pronounce it? Vuitton. Huh. All right. Well, I'll have to go down this rabbit hole another day.
Yeah, so far I'm not bowled over by the list, but
Okay, ongoing debate about Nike versus Nike? No way in hell.
that sounds like somebody joking around. At least,
Yeah.
again, in the US. If it's a different country, understood.
Chipotle was the most commonly mispronounced for travel and hospitality. The brand is searched over 11 times more monthly compared to Uber, the second most mispronounced. Who's mispronouncing Uber? Maybe in the world somewhere else. What's the scope of
Well, that's
this?
the thing, because I think if you're not, for instance, a native English speaker, you are going to pronounce these differently. But if you're an English speaker, at least in the US, there aren't a lot of variations on how you could say most of these. Like Starbucks, you could only say it one way, right?
How to say it is not Starbucks.
Uh-huh.
Why do I feel like I'm being punked? It says
These
how
are
to
like
say
the
it.
mispronunciations.
But it says how to say it at the top of the.
Yeah, but it says the top mispronunciations are
Okay.
like Uber is Uba.
Yeah. I know, but look. All right. This is driving me nuts.
I
This is
didn't
not
write
how
the
you.
article.
Yeah, this is not. I was just about to say, this is not how you construct an article. McDonald's. Maz. Everybody's from Boston?
Apparently,
Is that?
Uba.
Go bada ba. Stop by the McDonald's. Send a spaceship to Mars. No way. Come on.
This
This is
this is an
ridiculous.
odd one.
Yeah, okay, but y'all have to go and check out this article over at Newsweek. Again, it's by Monica Sager. And I titled this Brands You Pronounce Incorrectly. But the real title of it is These Are the Brand Names You're Pronouncing Wrong. Like the
I still
construction of
like
that
your
title.
title, even though I'm not so sure about some of the pronunciations in the article.
Yeah, there's something wrong with that whole article. All right, let's keep going. Here's our last article for today. An ancient coin collection worth $72 million is headed to auction after 100 years of secrecy. A legendary Danish coin collection will go up for sale later this year after 100 years. The auction house handling the sale says the collection is worth $72 million, and the tycoon who compiled the collection stipulated it could not be sold until 100 years after his death. One of the most valuable privately owned coin collections is headed to auction later this year after spending more than a century shrouded in secrecy. By the way, this person must have hated their offspring.
Why would you say that?
Because if they didn't, they would have allowed it to be sold after their death, but they didn't want it to be sold until upwards of 2 full generations.
It's just insane.
At least one 80-year generation has died off. Right?
I mean, talk about like control from beyond the grave, right?
Yikes. So the article is over at Business Insider. Aaron Snodgrass over at Business Insider put the article together. A legendary coin collection. $72 million worth of. The tycoon who compiled it said, I'm taking it with me. The collection once belonged to Danish businessman and butter tycoon Lars Emil Brun, who spent decades compiling the nearly 20,000 coins, banknotes, and medals that comprise the set. For over a century, the collection... Go ahead.
I thought you were going to say something like Scrooge McDuck rolling around in the coins, except this is rolling around in the piles of butter.
I missed it. You're so right. Yeah. Here, let me back up then. The collection once belonged to Danish businessman and butter tycoon Scrooge McDuck, who spent decades doing the backstroke into his pool of 20,000 coins, banknotes, and medals that comprised the set. Interviewed for comment, he said, "Quack off, I'm taking it with me." For over a century, the collection has been kept out of the public eye due to a stipulation in Brune's will that forbade the coins from being sold until every last one of you bastards are dead.
I mean, that is just interesting.
Emotionally impacted by the devastation of World War I, Brune determined the collection should be kept as backup reserves for Denmark should a second war ravage Europe. So the person,
when you're so wealthy that you're looking out for the country's finances.
Hey, supposedly that's happened here too. Supposedly, if you believe conspiracy theory. Proceeds from the sales will go to Brune's heirs. There we go. That's exactly what I just said, right? At least one of Brune's descendants was involved in an effort to negotiate a sale of the coins to a museum in Denmark before the required century of waiting was up, but Danish authorities ultimately shut down the sale, citing the businessman's will. Oh, I
wonder how far off he was from the time frame.
Oh, you mean the person trying to sell it before? When he tried to
sell it, yeah.
Wouldn't that suck? Gotta wait a year. And then everybody was all over them. But I guess it doesn't really matter because whoever is alive, part of the estate. Brune initially kept his collection at the Frederiksborg Castle, the former royal residence located north of Copenhagen. But it was later moved to the Danish Central Bank per the Post in an Ocean's 11 type of event. That has nothing to do with Ocean's 11. Yeah, pretty cool. I dig this, but it's again, this person really hated. I think that in the will, it probably said if it survives 100 years, it means it's safe and the economy is sound enough that I'm not needed, and then you can get rid of it. But obviously the kids are like, I'm outie. Some pieces in the collection go for as cheap as 50, while others could fetch 1 million.
Wow.
So they're gonna break it all up, I guess. The sales are set to begin this fall and could take anywhere from 3 to 5 years. Why not sell it as a bulk? I don't know. Maybe they hope to make more.
If they do it individually, yeah, probably can maximize their profits.
Well, that's it, folks. That's our show for May 14th, 2024. We always smash that welcome button. I hope that I don't get anything really horrible. But anyway. An exclusive 49-year-old whiskey goes up for auction, accompanied by Zaha Hadid Architects art piece. Okay. Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
Cool. Oh, and Red Lobster, by the way, they couldn't fork out enough shrimp to make a profit. And now they're closing 100 Red Lobsters.
And apparently they did it very abruptly.
Oh, like
it was closed. Like people are almost like showing up for work.
They're going like this. No, we're done.
Yeah. Somebody's like, I'd like to order that.
No.
We're closing the door on you or whatever. I don't know.
They go like this. Here, hold on a second. They go, yeah, I'm here to be seated. No. Maybe not.
Where did you go?
All right, folks. We're done for today. Thank you very much for hanging out. I am Mayor Watt. All around me is a sentient AI from the future saying, don't eat any of that shrimp. It might be bad.
That's right. Good night, hometown citizens. We will see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern.
See you soon. Now on sale, Red Lobster discount shrimp.